Hey guys, I thought I'd go ahead and do a little video. Jacob said I should probably go over what I was designing, my thoughts that went into the Samurai, and what I designed for. Um, Initially, this is what version 2 looks like. It had 2 slots and then the cavity for the mop. Um, from the start, I wanted the strap to be adjustable because a lot of the buckets, either they hang too low, they hang too high, depending on what kind of tools you use, how you're built, how you want to run your configuration. So from the very beginning, I wanted the strap to be adjustable in height. Um, this version here can't be made. There's just no injection molder in the world that can make something like this. It was 3D printed and basically kind of a dead end. This is what the final version looks like. This is a white one without colorant, so it's not going to be available. It was just a sample run that they ran. I don't know how many people would want a white bucket anyway. As you know, the divider comes out, and I've got 2 different dividers. Well, part of the reason for the dividers was since this one couldn't be made, this can be made. It requires 2 different molds, one for the bucket, one for the partitions. And I've got 2 different partitions. One with a double V and one with just a single arm. And basically what this allows is different configurations. With the standard one in there, you got 2 slots for 2 squeegees and your mop. And this middle area here, it was just something that I put in because it just made sense design-wise. And as I started looking at it, what I thought I would use it for would be for trash. Doing construction cleans, you're scraping all those stickers out, stuff them in there, keep going. Because trying to clean out your towel bag with stickers and stuff, it can be kind of a hassle. If you're on route work, you're scraping off that tape, and yes, a 1-inch scraper will fit in here. So for all you route work guys, you can get your 1-inch scraper in here, stuff the tape in there, and when you're done, you can pull your partition out, clean it out, toss the tape, and it's all in one handy place. You can also stuff a smaller squeegee in there if you've got cut ups, or if you got a smaller window and you need like a 10-inch. This is about 4 inches here, so it'll hold up to a certain amount of extra squeegee. Now this one was a last minute change, and since the accelerators have been so popular, the wagtails have been so popular, and I use them on route. So I'll have one stop where I need a wagtail to get the eyelid windows over this commercial job. But the rest of the time I'm using my standard squeegee. So not having a place for that wagtail or the accelerator, it's just like, hey, let's just cut off half of the wall, and then we can put a wagtail in there. We can put an accelerator in there. And right now it's kind of set up for on your right hand. The pad tool is going to go in the back. I do have plans on making this ambidextrous, but that's going to be down the road. A single partition that'll do both functions, but it requires a larger mold. It requires a lot more investment, and I just wanted to get this thing to the market. It's been over a year in development, over 4 years thinking about it, so I just wanted to get it out there. So this was just a brute force way just to get it out there. And the idea behind the partitions is that you're not going to be swapping them out in every day, every hour. It's just you've got that one job that you require a pad tool on, or you have a preferred setup for your outwork, and you're going to have one partition in there all the time. So the guys who like the accelerator on all their route work, they're going to use one partition. Those who like to use 2 standard squeegees are going to use the other partition. And then maybe once a month you might have to swap them out just for a special job, and then you go back to your standard configuration. That was kind of the idea, or how I imagined I would be using it. Now the partitions, one of the things that I was really big into, these partitions go to within 1 inch of the bottom. And I tried smaller partitions, half partitions, but when you're using something like the Ninja, it gets caught on the mop and it's going to have friction. So I had to actually extend it all the way down. I couldn't just go halfway, it has to go all the way down. But it goes to within 1 inch of the bottom. That's for 2 reasons. One, the Ninjas won't get caught on the bottom of this partition. 2, it allows the water to come off your squeegee and drain into the mop area. Because the way this thing hangs, the water's going to come off your squeegee and then go into the mop area where it's supposed to be, or where it's going to stay. So it helps your squeegees stay a little bit drier, especially if you're running heavy suds like in a restaurant or something. You use a lot of soap. It'll help cut down on the amount of soap that stays on your squeegee you know, when you're swapping out tools and stuff. So that was the idea behind that, was, you know, the water's gonna come off your squeegee and into the mop area. And with the divider, you know, there's no friction between the squeegees and the mops, you know, when you're taking them in and out. Now, the one thing I knew that was gonna be, well, the biggest headache for me was the strap. How to design it in such a way that it's adjustable and configurable, because I'm all about hacking tools, right? You know, we every single one of us, we get a squeegee, we gotta dog ear it, we gotta cut it, or whatever. You know, we all have this idea inside us that we want to hack tools. Well, the partitions allow you to hack them. You know, you can configure them to do weird stuff if you want to. One of my thoughts was, like, if I'm really having a problem with soap, I could line this with like microfiber just to wipe off my squeegee as I'm coming out. And you know, it's all about hacking. The strap was the same way. Basically, when you get it, it'll be strapped on like this. This is an adjustable buckle that allows you to let it ride higher or lower, depending on how you want to run it. Now, I've come up with about 7 different ways to attach this to a belt. The first thing to be aware of is that this Velcro part, it was designed for a 3-inch belt, like the Unger Ergotex. They're a big belt, but they're popular. People like them. Not everybody's running a 2-inch work belt. So this will fit, it should fit an Unger Ergotech, because it has a 3-inch span, so you can really get, you know, a big belt in there without having to, you know, worry about it. Now, if you're running the standard 2-inch belt, what you're going to want to do is, you've got this extra flap. Yeah, you can just fold it over, and now you've got, you know, like an extra length. But what I intended for it to do is, you just wrap it around and then Velcro it, and now it's up high and tight. So you gain an inch by folding over that Velcro around your belt, you know, getting rid of the excess. So now, you know, now it's going to ride high and tight. That's what I designed it for. So there's that option, because I've seen some people, they just put it on their belt and it's just hanging in the standard configuration, and you know, you lose an inch that way. I'd rather have it high and tight, so minimize the amount of length on there. But I like the detachable clip. You know, there was only one brand that allowed you to take it on and off, but it hung so low, it was really annoying. So with this one, it's adjustable. You know, you can get this thing high and tight on a 2-inch belt. It'll fit on an Ergotech. Now on the bottom half, you know, yeah, I've attached some length here so you can adjust it high or low. You know, if you're running big tools, maybe you want it just a little lower. If you're a tall guy, maybe you want it a little lower. If you're a short person, you might want it a little bit higher, whatever. There's those options. But one of the other configurations is, you can take off that end of the clip and then just feed this on itself and attach it directly to your belt that way. So now it's not removable, but you can make it as tight as you want it. So that way it's up really tight, and it, you know, it won't swing as much. If you don't want to mess with it, if you don't want to bother with it, you've got this little anchor here. Zip tie it to your belt. Zip tie it in the position you want it, the height you want it. You know, there's a lot of different ways that you can configure this to your belt. I thought of at least 7, but you know, I'm curious what people will come up with, you know, on how they want to attach it to their belt. I've given you options on how to do that. So, you know, I really want this thing, you know, to fit comfortably for your style. And everybody has different styles. You know, I was watching Kevin the window cleaner, and man, his style's weird. You know, I would never have thought of putting all the handles the same way. That's not how I roll. So everybody's got different styles. You know, I hope this thing is configurable for all of the different styles. And I know that, you know, I've scratched my own itch with this design. And I know that, you know, I might have missed something, that somebody's doing something weird like Kevin, you know, that I might have missed a certain style or a certain function or a certain feature. And that, you know, that's cool. I want feedback saying, hey, we should do the partition like this, because, you know, now it'll accommodate 2 pad tools. They can be separated, and I can run different sizes. I can run an 18-inch accelerator and a 14-inch wagtail, just to bug Tradman, because he's all accelerator all the time. But so, you know, we can design custom partitions if it meets a sufficient need. I can't just do a one-off, obviously, but if there's a sufficient request for one, yeah, we can design a new one. You know, I've thought of different partitions that we could make. But the fact is, it's really expensive to make, so I need to make sure that it's going to fit a wide audience, and that's what I was trying to do here. So yeah, you're going to get 3 different configurations, 2 partitions, and if you want to just roll it this way, you can run it empty. You know, just no partitions, stuff all your tools in there, and you're good to go. Now what else? Now, I'm sure you've seen the various videos on how the squeegees, how they rest on their spine. So, you know, when you're walking and stuff, yeah, the squeegee is going to move a little bit, but the way the partitions are designed, you've got a solid wall here, so that, you know, even if the rubber rests on it, it shouldn't ever nick rubber. It shouldn't deform rubber. Like if you got the Pull-X Hard and it's trying to, you know, it has a tendency to bend, you know, to shape to whatever it's leaning on. So even if you're walking and the rubber hits, it shouldn't ever nick rubber. And if somehow you scratch up this partition enough where it might scratch rubber, pull the partition out, hit it with some sandpaper, maybe hit it with a cigarette lighter, smooth it down, you're good to go. The distributors will be offering replacement partitions, but you know, it's just one of those things. You know, you can hack this thing a lot to meet your needs, to meet your functions, to meet your style, and I'm just really excited to see how people want to use it. You know, even when I first started designing these, like with the very first version 1, this is version 2, even I was surprised, you know, because I designed it primarily to address the wet leg issue, because there's nothing like going on route day in, day out, using a lot of soap, and then getting your pants all crusty from the dirt and the soap. And if you're really sloppy, you end up with a rash underneath there, where, you know, the soap and the water and stuff just start rubbing on your skin. And I've had pants, you know, when I was running really heavy routes, really dirty routes, they had a crust on there that no matter how many times I'd wash them, it wouldn't come off. So the wet leg thing was my primary issue. And I know a lot of people, there's some people out there who don't have problems with wet leg. You know, that's cool. You know, you have a different style that works for you. Me, you know, I'm just sloppy. You know, I want to go out there, I want a full mop on my commercial routes and stuff, and I just want to, you know, I carry a lot of water, and I don't want to have to think about, you know, my technique as far as putting it in and putting it out. Yeah, maybe I'm sloppy, but a lot of other people have problems with wet leg too. So when I started designing it, you know, putting the mop in, putting a full mop in, you know, the water would run down these channels and drip onto the ground, and you know, it's like, holy cow, this works. You know, even though I designed it that way, even me, when I'm using it, I'm still surprised. You know, it's gratifying and it's exciting that it works like I designed it. But I've got a shop full of designs that don't work. And I've got experiments on screen washers that I can't really release just because they'd be too expensive to make, or they'd be too hard to make, or whatever. So, you know, I'm all about making it simple and hopefully meeting your needs. I've taken this design out, you know, on commercial routes and everything, and even I'm amazed at, you know, that my leg stays dry. The water tends to run off the front if you're really sloppy putting the mop in. Now, one of the things that when we got the production samples, we went with like a smooth finish, and all the other buckets have a texture to them. And the reason I left it smooth was because on route you get a lot of dirt and it gets into that texture and you can never get it clean. So I wanted to go ahead and leave it smooth, so maybe you can wipe it down and stuff. But if people don't like it, we can add texture later on. You know, if we get a big enough response that they like the texture, or, you know, or whatever. But I wanted it smooth for the route guys. It's getting messy, wipe it down, it's good to go. It should be easy to clean. Get a bottle cleaner, stick it in there, get all that mud out, because I've got buckets that have had, you know, 10 years worth of mud in the bottom that I can't get out. It's just crusted down in there. So, you know, we left it smooth without a texture. We went with polyethylene. It's a little bit, it has a little bit of give to it, but polyethylene is a byproduct of polypropylene, and it's really chemically resistant, because I didn't want to have to worry about somebody using ammonia or vinegar or Wonder Store or any of those. It should be resistant to all of them. And that's the problem with designing a bucket is it chemically resistant? You know, if somebody sticks ammonia in there, is it going to eat through there? You know, because ABS, you put ammonia in there, it's going to turn into a pile of slag. So we went with polyethylene. Has a little bit of give to it, so you can toss it. You know, if it drops from a ladder or something, it should bounce. It should never crack. Even in the wintertime, it should respond really well to freezing temperatures or hot temperatures. Most of the window buckets, the water buckets, the big ones, most of those are made with polyethylene because they have a little bit of give to them, a little bit of flex, and that allows them, like if you forget it in the wintertime and it freezes, you know, it allows you to break through it and dump it out. So that's the reason we went with polyethylene. It's a little more durable, and I think it'll work really well. So, you know, I'm really interested to see how people want to use it, how they hack it, because I expect you to hack it. You know, I expect these guys, you know, to figure out how they want to run it and how it fits them. You know, that's been my problem since the beginning is, you know, I started off with one bucket. The rivets rusted out, so I had to zip tie it to my belt. Started eating my rubber, you know, nicking the rubber and stuff. So I went to another type of bucket. I had to put dividers in there because my stuff was getting all tangled. So, you know, this thing came from a lot of years of frustration with the current market. And I'm just really interested to see how people use it, if they like it. If you're happy with your current setup, cool. You know, this is for the people that aren't happy with their current setup. So, I hope that helps. I hope I've given you some information. Feel free to contact me on Facebook or email me. Yeah, I hope it works for you. Anyway, have a good day, guys.